This is the story of Albert Gonzalez, a name that didn't make noise but shook the entire digital world. No masks, no weapons, no alarms, just a laptop and a system built entirely on trust. This is the story of a man who didn't just break into systems, he figured out how the system itself worked and turned it against everyone. In the early 2000s, the United States was going through a massive shift. Cash was fading out, cards were taking over, and businesses were racing online. Every swipe at a store, every late-night online purchase, every gas station payment, it all became data, stored, processed, trusted. And where there's data, there's opportunity. Right in the middle of this digital boom was a young man named Albert Gonzalez. But he wasn't just another hacker trying to make noise. He was building something much bigger, something almost invisible: the rise. Albert didn't start off as some mysterious cyber criminal. He was like a lot of tech-savvy kids back then, curious, sharp, and obsessed with understanding systems, how they worked, where they failed, and how they could be manipulated. He spent time in online forums, building connections with other skilled individuals. Over time, he earned a reputation. People respected his knowledge. They trusted his abilities. But then, things took an unexpected turn. Instead of staying hidden in the underground world, Albert stepped into something completely different. He started working with law enforcement. Yeah, the same person who would later orchestrate one of the biggest data thefts in history was once helping authorities track cybercriminals. Let that sink in. He wasn't outside the system anymore. He was inside it, learning how investigations worked, understanding how agencies think, and more importantly, identifying the blind spots no one else could see. The operation. This wasn't random. This wasn't sloppy. This was precise. Albert and his group targeted major U.S. retail companies, the kind people trust without a second thought. Big stores, well-known brands, everyday places. But instead of forcing their way in, they took a quieter route. They went after wireless networks. Back then, security wasn't as strong as it is today. Weak encryption, open access points, outdated systems. That's all it took. Once they got in, they installed software designed to quietly capture payment data. Every card swipe, every purchase, every customer. No alerts, no warnings, no signs anything was wrong. Just a constant, silent flow of information. And here's where it gets even more intense. They didn't just collect the data, they turned it into a marketplace. Millions of card numbers were sold in underground networks. Buyers across the world used them for unauthorized transactions, purchases, and withdrawals. Meanwhile, stores stayed open, customers kept shopping, everything looked completely normal. And that's what made it so effective, because no one realized the system had already been compromised. The scale. This operation wasn't small, it wasn't even large, it was massive. Over 170 million card records exposed, multiple major companies affected. Millions of dollars moving quietly through hidden channels. It became one of the largest data breaches ever recorded in the United States. And somehow, Albert stayed invisible. No headlines at first, no panic, no immediate shutdown. Why? Because he understood something most people don't. If everything looks normal, no one questions it. The fall. No system stays perfect forever. At first, it was almost invisible. A handful of unusual transactions, patterns that didn't quite add up, fraud reports that felt connected. Nothing loud, nothing obvious, just enough to make someone pause and take a second look. In the beginning, it all seemed random, scattered incidents, easy to dismiss. But investigators didn't brush it off. They started pulling threads, cross-checking data, mapping timelines, slowly, methodically, pieced about it inside considering the reasons. In the beginning, a larger picture began to emerge. And then the twist. The very system Albert Gonzalez once worked with, the same system he understood from the inside, was now closing in on him. This time he wasn't ahead of it. He was running out of time. And eventually, everything unraveled. Albert Gonzalez was arrested. When the full story came out, it didn't just make headlines, it shook the nation. Not just because of the scale, but because of how deceptively simple it was. No dramatic break-ins. The real message. This isn't just a story about one hacker, it's about trust, about the systems we rely on every single day, and how easily they can be taken advantage of. Because in today's digital world, The biggest threats don't make noise. Sometimes they're already inside, watching, waiting, collecting, and by the time you realize it, it's already too late.